You should all be ashamed. America will rise up against you.
Isaiah, really appreciate you making some time to speak to me. Before we get started, let's look real quick at the viral video that everyone's seen already of you speaking up at the state redistricting meeting and then subsequently being thrown out.
Not remember you kindly for what you have done. They will not. As a matter of fact, history might not remember you at all because of what you have done. You need to have shame. History will not remember you for what you have done. It is a shame. It is horrific for what you have. Oh, shit. Oh, Jesus, get off of him. It is horrific for what you have done. You should all be ashamed. America will rise up against you.
Pretty traumatic stuff. Talk us through what happened.
Yeah, first off, Jolly, I'm super excited to be here. Love your content all the time. But to be honest with you, look, I went to go speak up because Republicans are trying to carve up my district. And I thought that was crazy. I get up to the redistricting committee, and I see Republicans are just not paying attention. I mean, these guys are crazy. I mean, you got people that had driven hours and hours to go and talk about how they didn't want to see this redistricting. They didn't want to see the policies that Republicans were trying to force on us. And they were talking, and the legislators were, the Republicans that were on their phones. They were not just listening. They were tuning people out, and it was crazy. So I went up there, and I gave them a piece of my mind. As they're dragging me out, you had Officer Pillsbury Doughboy that effectively came forward and pushed me to the ground. And as a result of that, my ankle got busted, my finger got busted, and they pushed me up out of there. I didn't think that I was going to get arrested. I don't think any of the officers thought so. And so they bring me to the top. I'm outside, and I'm sitting on a bench, and a paramedic, I guess, is looking at my ankle. And the officer that pushed me is basically on the phone. He got a random phone call. Don't know who it was, who he was talking to, but then he comes up and he says, "You're going to be placed under arrest." And I was like, "What?" And he said, "You're going to be under arrest for trespassing," which I thought was crazy, right? Because we were in the state capitol.
Right.
At a hearing I was scheduled to speak at in the Capitol that we paid for, right? Made no sense.
None.
Then they said I was resisting arrest, which is crazy because none of them ever told me that I was under arrest. But they did that as a means to go and put me in jail. So they did this because they thought that they could teach me a lesson. And those Republicans are just so stupid. I went into jail. It was a crazy experience for 30 hours. And I came out, and it ended up blowing up a lot worse than anything they could have ever expected. So, those Republicans are dumb for what they did. But ultimately, we have started a movement of people that are just outraged at this ridiculous gerrymandering scam that's happening.
So to recap, you were talking, you were speaking at this committee hearing, and they weren't even paying attention to what you were saying, is what I'm hearing.
No.
They were on their phones. They were doing everything but listening. So it sends the message that we don't care what. This is literally what Republicans have been doing in Congress and across the country. We don't care what anybody says. We're going to do it anyway. This is why I'm frustrated with watching the big ugly bill pass. It's like we scream into the wind, it feels like, and Republicans do what they want anyway. And
That's
I think
right.
that kind of proves it. So this is gerrymandering. Like mask off. We've known that they're gerrymandering for 50 plus years,
Right.
but they always try to say it's something different.
Right.
I think it's what's happening in Texas is just mask off.
100%. I mean, Trump said himself that he wants 5 seats. So, I mean, he came up and the maps came out today and they say, oh, well, here's 5 seats. I mean, it's what they do. But that's why I think fundamentally the response needs to be not just us saying how disappointed we are or writing a strongly worded letter about how outraged we are. We got to use our leverage. And that's why California, New York, and all these states across the country have got to be able to use their leverage to gerrymander Republicans out of their seats the same way they're coming after us, because we have the population advantage. So it's time to use it and wield the power that we have instead of letting Republicans do whatever they want, because this is absolutely absurd.
Fighting fire with fire, right?
That's right.
So let's talk about how your district would look if this went through, as well as Congressman Mark Veazey's district is going to be affected, and the very popular, very well-liked Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's district is going to be affected by this.
Right.
What is it going to look like if Republicans get their way?
Well, the 18th Congressional District, I mean, has been carved up completely. District that used to control a lot of northern Houston as well as places like Acres Home and all of that stuff is going to be completely thrown out, and you're going to have a district that's more central and south. In regards to Mark Vesey, I mean, I was just reading reports. I think that they have put him and Congresswoman Julie Johnson effectively in the same district. I mean, it's just absolutely absurd what they're doing. Because let's remember, these Republicans are extremely unpopular. I mean, they're down 8 points right now in the generic ballot. They're getting their clocks cleaned all across this country. I mean, their policies are unpopular. No president has ever been as unpopular as Donald Trump and to this point of a presidency. So they're desperate, and they're looking for anything they can, and that's why they're doing what they're doing in Texas.
Do you believe, as somebody who is a Texan, somebody who's running in Texas, obviously I believe that you probably have a good feel for Texas politics. Right. Do you believe without gerrymandering that Republicans would hold the majority in Texas?
No. Those guys, absolutely not. I mean, this is their way to get things the way they are. It is to disenfranchise people. It is to get people to believe that their votes do not count. And so, look, that's the reason why they're doing what they're doing. These guys are scared and they're weak, and that's why they're doing what they're doing.
Isaiah, I want to give you a chance to respond to your critics who are saying essentially that what you did at the state capitol was performative, it was pre-planned, you weren't pushed to the ground, you fell to the ground in front of a camera that you planted. I mean, first of all, this is standard MAGA bullshit in response to, but I would love to give you a chance to shut down that conversation right now.
The Republicans are always going to say whatever they're going to say. They're going to cry whenever they have to go and make excuses for the fact that now millions of people are watching the fact that they are trying to gerrymander our state into oblivion. Millions of people are talking about the fact that these people are completely out of depth. They don't know anything about what they're doing. They see the economy's in shatters. The tariffs are wrecking the economy left and right, and that's what's going on. So if the Republicans want to cry and make their new conspiracy with me, they can go right ahead and do it. But ultimately, I'm more proud of the fact that now multiple Democratic governors have come out and said that they will gerrymander Republicans out of their seat without mercy. So they can come after me, but it looks like Democrats will be coming after them.
Look, I love what you're doing in Texas. We got to win out there. I'm rooting for you. Can you tell us, for those of us who are not in Texas but would love to support your campaign, how we can do so?
Absolutely. You can go to IsaiahMartin.org, IsaiahMartin.org. You can chip into the campaign. You can sign up to volunteer. You can support our vision because it's time to send a message to folks in D.C. It's ready to fight back.